Hi, my name is Kevin McDonald, and I'm declaring my independence. Independence from what? Why, negative thoughts and energy, of course. Chief among them, hate, division, and fear. You see, I know that we're all one, and together we can solve any problem, save our planet and each other. Please, join me as we come together as one and choose a better way to be. So now, let's begin with my independence report. And welcome to my Independence Report, everybody. I've got a special treat for you today. I know I say that a lot, but this time I really mean it. We have Coryelle Kramer. She has been on the show before. She is a wonderful young lady who has done some remarkable things and is at the tender age of I don't know what, but she is changing her life and continuing her education to go do something really special. And that's what we're going to talk about today, is what she's doing to follow her passion and how that is translating into something that I think is going to be really big. And with that, I'd like to introduce Coryelle. Coryelle Kramer, how are you today, ma'am?
I'm great, sir. How are you doing?
I'm great too. I wanted to ask you right out of the box. We met a while back, and you did a show. By the way, a lot of people have listened to that show, so I thank them for listening and thank you for participating with that. And you are a psychic. You are an animal communicator. If I was to look at your resume or what's on your business card, what all would be there?
It would be a really long title, but right now, because I wear so many hats. You know, I'm an animal communicator, like you said. I'm a psychic. I'm a healer. But what I call myself now is I call myself a passion cultivator. And that is really the umbrella for a title for what I do now, which is I am all about passion. I'm all about stoking the passion in people's lives. I'm all about stoking the passion in people's lives with their animals. And when I say passion with the animals involved, it's got nothing to do with sex, of course. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about finding that deep love of connection between you and your animal, and even enhancing it even more. Yes, it is possible to go even deeper, even more with your animal. But so now I consider myself a passion cultivator. I love that. That's the title that came to me as I was going through my certification process.
And now let me paint a picture for everyone, because you're very successful, or you were very successful at what you did as it stood. What motivated you to decide to get this certification to move into a different realm that a lot of people don't really even know what it is?
Right. And first off, I have to say that I am somebody who does things, changes. You know, I moved to New Mexico knowing only one person. I love change. I love embracing change. And I think it enriches your life when you do, you know. So changing my life and my title and everything I did might have been scary for a lot of people. And yeah, it was a little scary, but basically I just embraced it. But what it is that the reason that I did it was because I was doing the animal communication, the healing work, and the psychic work. And even though I loved it, it just felt like I was called to do something more. I just didn't know what that more was. I didn't know, how I was going to expand on what I had already done. I mean, it just seems like I had taken that, the psychic realm, the metaphysical realm. I mean, it just felt like I had taken that as far as I could possibly take it and twisted it and turned it in different ways. And I did the animal experience show, and I love doing that, which, it's got its own podcast, and it's also on a Facebook page. And that's where I was bringing the world and the wisdom I learned from the animals to the world. But it just felt like it was so limited. And then what I did was I discovered, through a very good friend of mine, I discovered the erotic blueprints, and they changed my life. They just changed my life, how I see myself, how I see this world, how I love this world, how I love myself. They've given me a passion for life that I could never, ever have found on my own. And they've also worked to help deepen my relationship with my animals, who I already had a deep connection to, but I was able to go even deeper. But it just felt like I needed to change. I just didn't know where that change was. It just felt like I was limiting myself with what I was doing. I had taken it as far as I could have.
So when you're talking about erotic, well, first of all, how did you find out about this class or this certification? And because it's a 7-month grueling program, isn't it?
It's very challenging. Grueling, I wouldn't say it was grueling. It was very, very challenging. It challenged me in ways that I really haven't been challenged in, I think, since I was back in school, And how did I find them? I found them. I mean, my full story you'll find on my website, but
which is,
to make a really long story, which is my name, which is CoryelleKramer.com.
Oh, very nice. See, we can shamelessly plug on this show if you'd like.
Absolutely. You could also, everything is under my name. My Instagram's under my name. Facebook's under my name. My email is mail@CoryelleKramer.com. I make it really, really stupid easy to find me because I like it like that. But what happened was that I was in a very, very deep pit of sexual shame. I was ashamed about who I was on a very basic, core, natural level. And because of that, what happened was when I first found out who I was sexually, it was actually really freeing. Meaning, I finally was able to put a name to it to a certain extent. But I never felt like I knew right off the bat, I'm never going to be able to talk about this with another person. I'm not going to be able to share about it with another person, let alone talk about it on Facebook or social media or anything else like that there, because I was afraid it was going to ruin my reputation. And my reputation for me is very important. I want people to trust in me, and I want people to put their faith in me. That's what I believe what my career at the time was all about, is faith and trust in me. So I felt like I was drowning. I kept it to myself as long as I possibly could. I shared about it with one other person in this world, and that one other person, I didn't share the full spectrum of, because I felt like I was too big, I was too much, it was just too much. So I made it, my world became smaller and smaller and closer and just darker and darker. And I just wasn't fully being who I could be. And I felt like I was kind of like a hypocrite, because I was showing people and telling people, you be who you be. Don't be ashamed of who you are. I'm posting about positivity and loving who you are, but I wasn't able to fully express to people who I was, and I had to keep that side of me closed off. So the blueprints, the erotic blueprints, have given me the ability to speak different vocabulary. They've given me the ability to know what sensations and to appreciate sensations. They've given me the ability. It's not just about sex. It's about who you are at your very core. I mean, when you discover who you are and honor who that person is, no matter what, and love that person, that's freedom. That's what I tell people. I tell people that I teach you, I show you how to be free, because that's what we all deserve.
Well, exactly. Now, is it because that we tend to segment and hide away our sexuality in in a bit of a closet and stuff we're not able to be free with everything, that we hide that and we hide other stuff as well?
Yeah, because we have a stigma about the fact that anything sexual, okay, anything that has the word sex in it is bad, or we put labels on it.
It's
and we
naughty.
put labels of stuff because,
It's naughty.
I'm sorry?
It's naughty.
Yeah, it's naughty. No, naughty is not a bad word. I like the word naughty. But what it is that we put shame on our sexuality because we were taught, and this has been going on for generations, okay? I mean, we've been taught that anything that happens outside the bedroom should stay in the bedroom. And we are also taught at a very young age not to touch yourself. Don't touch yourself. You'll go blind. You'll get hair on your palms. You get cross-eyed. You know, it's crazy. You know, we teach.
Just real quick, I have a story about that. When I was in 8th grade, I went to a Lutheran school, and they yeah, I know, and they decided that they were going to have sex ed, but they didn't do that till the 8th grade, so they divided up. The boys went to one classroom, and the girls went to another classroom, and the guy that was in front of my class, he kept on talking about abusing yourself. I had no earthly idea what the hell he was talking about. But he kept on saying, don't abuse yourself. It's bad to abuse yourself. And I said, well, what am I going to do? Hit myself in the head? I had no idea what he was talking about. I was a little sheltered back then. But it's like that. But that's what I mean. That's the story that we get told from a very early age, and it's very destructive.
It is, because the sex education in this country is, I mean, I'm sorry, it's a joke. You know, there is none. If you have it at all, it's usually by somebody, taught by somebody who's stunted sexually themselves. So, you know, what's happening is that they're passing on this information, a lot of it false, you know, and it's just, you know, detrimental because kids are, you know, we're trying to scare them not to have sex. You know, well, I got news for you. They're going to have sex anyway. And the more that we you know, make it a bad thing, the more they want it. You know, if we're straight up front about it, you know, and make it not such a taboo, and make it and embrace it, and just say, you know, this is a natural thing, and talk about it. You know, we don't talk about it. We're whispering about it. We don't sex. You know, it's like there's nothing wrong about that. And then the word that you use, the abuse, don't abuse yourself. I mean, that's scary itself. You know, what you got to do? I mean, like you said, you got to hit yourself on the side of the head. You know,
yeah, no idea what he was talking about.
Really, something. This needs to change. It needs to change because we're starving ourselves. We're starving ourselves with shame and with guilt, and you know, we're keeping ourselves from being happy. And I'd like to say, I don't want to put my happy on hold. I don't want to put that on hold anymore. I want to be happy, and I want to live in joy, and I want to accept and love myself fully and completely. And I cannot do that if I'm hiding who I am as an erotic sexual being.
Yeah, because Mr. Happy wants to be happy all the time.
Exactly. And Mrs. Happy too.
Never thought about Mrs. Happy. I'm just you know, when us as guys, we get excited about Mr. Happy, but you know, anyway.
Yes. Of the happy, yes.
So let's talk about, where did the blueprints come from? Or is that something that you incorporate into your work now? And what exactly are they?
Well, what they are is, yes, I do incorporate them in my work, and I'll let you know how I do that in a second. What the blueprints are they are archetypes. They are 5 of them. It's kind of like the love languages are for, you know, for your passion and all this kind of stuff, but they're basically more geared towards your sexuality. And there's 5 of them. And, you know, they were brought about by a woman by the name of Jaya. And she's my mentor. She's the one that I've learned this from. And she's awesome. She's fantastic. And she's a sex goddess. And she is this incredible, brilliant, wonderful, amazing person who I've been blessed to get to know over the last few months that I've been doing this and being on her team for a little while. And the archetypes of the blueprints are as follows. And they all have a superpower, too, which is really cool. So there's energetic, there's sensual, there's sexual, there's kinky, and then there's the shapeshifter. So, and then I came up with the animal prints. And the animal prints are the blueprints, but for animals. And those are slightly different. Those are energetic also. There's energetic animals. There are sensual animals. The sexual animal is not that anymore for me, for my animal prints. They are called the direct and demanding one. Then there is the kinky in the blueprints, or in animal prints, the kinky is the rule breaker. And then there's the shapeshifter. And the thing about the energetic, so starting off, just to give you an idea, so the energetic likes things like longing. They like anticipation. They like tease. They like space. You don't want to come at an energetic and just like shove your face. Hey, how you doing? That's going to throw them off. Energetic people like to have their space. They like to have that distance. They get really happy when that's being acknowledged. And their superpower is that they can have orgasm with or without being touched. So distance, you know, you can work with distance if you want to put your hand, you know, over your arm and just feel the energy, rubbing your hands together first and then maybe pulling them apart. You could feel the energy in between your hands. That's the energetic. The sensual is more just what they say. The sensual is about the senses. They like their senses aroused, sight, taste, touch, feel, smell, sound. You know, they like that feeling. They get it gets erotic for them when their senses are acknowledged. And their superpower is they can have orgasms through, you know, just igniting one or more of the senses. Usually essential is somebody, if they eat like a strawberry or something, they're the ones that go, or they're eating something good, they love to make the sounds when they're eating. And then the sexual is basically what we consider sex as. So full-on penetration, things like that there. But the sexual is, you know, is turned on by like things like nudity, orgasm, the sexual act. But, you know, their superpower is, you know, they have a very high sex drive. They love sex. They're fast and easy to get aroused. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, they just love sex. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Then the kinky. So the kinky is anything. Now, here's the thing. The thing about kinky is it is a massive subject, because the kinky is basically anything that you think is taboo, or the word you used before, Kevin, naughty. Anything you think is naughty or taboo is considered kinky, which means it's massive subject. There's psychological kink, there's sensual kink, there's all different kinds of kink. There's fetishes. There's all different kinds of kink, and it's massive. And their superpower is they are endlessly creative people. Okay, they think up stuff like they're like the MacGyver of the blueprints. Okay, they'll think up stuff to do and how to do it, and you know, using like a pair of chopsticks and a rubber band. Okay, I mean they could come up with kinky stuff with that. And then the shapeshifter is basically a combination of all of the other blueprints. They want all of it. More, more, more. They just want more. That's what they're all about. They want everything. And they get turned on by all the things that the other blueprints get turned on by. So that's essentially what that's all about.
I'm still stuck on the chopsticks and the rubber band as a sexual tool. That's I'm trying to work my head around that just a little bit.
Well, I'm taking a kinky class now with this kink master, and he's awesome. His name is Orpheus Black, and he's the MacGyver, okay, of kink. And I'm taking his class, and I'm almost done with it. And he showed us how to do something with chopsticks and a pair of rubber bands. That, woo! If you want to, message me later, and I'll tell you how to do it, what to do with them.
Okay, well, perhaps that would be a good conversation to have. But so you did all of this. You did the 7 months of intensive work, and you've learned about the blueprints and stuff. How are you going to apply that in people's lives day to day?
I love talking about this. Okay, so what I did was I went to an event in Colorado in October, and I was asking myself the same question. At that time, I was like, something, I'd really like to do the blueprints. I'd really like to take this course, especially because this was the last year that Jaya was actually going to teach it. From now on, it's just straight videos, but this was her teaching her, doing classes with her live. So I really wanted to be a part of this. And I was driving back from Colorado, and I was asking myself the same damn question. How the hell am I going to do this? Especially with animals, because, I don't want people thinking I'm into any kind of weird stuff with animals or anything else like that there. And how am I going to explain it to people? And, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, I heard a voice in my head, usually this is my guide, saying trust. And I said, okay, so I'll trust. And I got quiet, and I started driving again, and all of a sudden I had an epiphany, and I had to pull over to the side of the road because it was so big. My hands were shaking. And I realized how I was going to incorporate it, how it fit almost seamlessly into what I already do. So what I do is I am going to show people first and foremost, because I am a psychic, I am really good at using my intuition. And I know that when I use my intuition and I let my intuition lead me in my life is happier. So because I want people to get out of their head around sex, because that's all that it is that, it's always coming from our head. This is bad, this is wrong, this is awful. What I want to do is I'm going to show people how to first and foremost hone their natural ability of intuition. Once I hone that ability in you and I get you to the point where you are an intuitive guru, okay, which I can do in about a week's time. I can do this in a week. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to then show you how to apply the blueprints using your intuition and not your head. I'm taking your head out of it because your head is going to tell you you're wrong, you're bad, you're disgusting, you're ugly, you're terrible, you're a freak, and I want to bypass that, and I'm going to be able to because I'm going to tap you into your intuition. You're going to use your intuition in order to feed your blueprint, in order to speak your blueprint, in order to nourish your blueprint, in order to heal your blueprint, in order to heal sexual shame, in order to heal any kind of physical dysfunctionality that's going on, in order to, get yourself into a more happier, healthier headspace. And then I'm also working with professional people where I'm going to help them, where they are supporting what I do. And I'll be able to send my people to them to help with their hormones, to help with and find out and get their hormones tested and find out if there's anything that they need to do to support their hormone health. And, it just boggles my mind. So that's what I'm going to do for people. And then with the animal prints, I'm going to be able to, not only do I bring that into when I do my session packages now with animals, because I touch on them and I nourish them. I find out what their blueprint is, because for the animals, it's more tied to their personality. It's not tied to them sexually. It's tied to their personality. So if I'm able to really talk and feed and hear and see and nourish their personality, it makes their session even more intense, even more deeper. They open up even more to me because I'm acknowledging them, I'm hearing them, I'm listening to them, more than any other animal communicator, even myself, could have done 7 months ago. So they are a way for me to get deeper into and help your animal, but also they are a way for me to teach you how to deepen your connection with your animal. So it's essentially doing what I already do, but it's bringing what I already do to the next level. And it's bringing passion and joy and happiness and connection to the world, which is what I believe my life purpose is.
So how do you get people to open up, especially if somebody has got like a special kink that they do or contemplate doing, but they're a little ashamed about that? How do you bring that out of them?
Well, I think it's pretty much the way that it was when I was just doing my straight psychic work. The people who I resonate with are the people who are going to find me. They're going to read what's on my, just like before, they're going to read what's on my website. They're going to read what I'm posting on Facebook and Instagram. They're going to read all this stuff, and something about me is going to resonate with their soul. And that's the people that I want. I want my soul clients. I want people to understand that I'm here to help them, and they're going to know it on a very intuitive, wink, wink, knowing level, And if somebody has a kink, I'm not judging you. As long as it's not hurting an animal and it's not hurting a kid, I'm all right. I'm good. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to, because we've been judged enough. People have been judged enough. And as somebody who is a shapeshifter, which I am, but I started off as a kinky. I was very kinky. I still am very kinky. But I was ashamed of it. I know that shame. I know that darkness. I know what that's like to feel bad about what you need. But when you're able to, be with somebody like me who will see you, who will hear you, who will listen to you, who will acknowledge you, who will make you feel seen, then that in a non-judgmental way, we're good. It feeds your soul when somebody acknowledges you, all of you, not just like a little bit of itty bitty part of you, but the whole package. So I think people will come to me. I want the people who, want to be free, who want to, help others be free. Because I'll teach you, I'll teach you how to, feed your partner, how to feed the people in your lives. This is more than just sex. It's about really and truly honoring another being, including yourself, at their core. All of it. So when you're able to talk to the person, like the sensual likes certain words, the energetic likes certain words, the kinky likes certain words, the shapeshifter likes certain words, the sexual likes certain words. And if you can learn that language and those touches, and because each one's got a different touch too. I mean, energetic is not the same as the sensual touch. It's just not. It's totally, completely different. But if you can learn that and feed that and give that to the person that you care about or the people that you care about in your lives, if you can talk to them on a very basic core level, that's going to change all your relationships, not just the sexual. all of them.
Now, I know that, and we've talked about this, you are not a sex therapist. I want to make that clear to everybody that's listening, that you're not a sex therapist, but you do work with couples. How do you work with couples to help them through the issues that they have? Because everything seems to, at least a lot of times, correct me if I'm wrong, but a lot of times things stem from their intimate physical relationships and move outward from there. How do you help people understand the archetype that they are and to be able to communicate better their needs to each other?
So what I do is I work through about 9 to 10 weeks. Let's say 10 weeks. You work with me for about 10 weeks right now, for 3 months. 3 months or 6 months or a year. That's my packages. So what happens is that, let's take the 3 months. So what happens is that we start off with learning. You take a quiz and you find out what your blueprints are, what the percentages are, what's the highest ones, what's the lowest ones. And then we hone your intuition so that you get really comfortable with using your intuition. And then I take you through 9 more weeks of us finding out your blueprint first, and then your partner's blueprint. I like working with all the people, but I like working with couples because it gives the most benefit, as opposed to just one person in a relationship that wants to work with me and the other one doesn't. I could do that, but it's more beneficial if we can get everybody together speaking the same language at the same time, as opposed to, then we have to, it's like driving with like 2 wheels. It's better, you could do it. It's a hot mess, but you could do it. It's better if you have 4 wheels on the car. So then I take them through and I show them how to speak the blueprints, what words to use in order to get your turn on, and how those words feed your soul and feed your partner's soul. And then I teach you how to touch in the different ways. There are different touches. There are all different kinds of touches. And once you learn that, then you start feeding yourself, nourishing yourself. And then we can go into, so we go into speaking, we go into touch, we go into healing the shadows, if there are any shadows. The shadows are usually, if you could be in a shadow in a blueprint, or that's high in your percentage. Like, for example, I was kinky when I first took the blueprint quiz, and what happened was that, but I was in shame because I wasn't sharing my kinky. I wasn't I was feeding her, but I wasn't, I call her. I was feeding her, but I wasn't really, I was keeping her more in the shadow. I was keeping her as the dirty little secret. So you can be in high in an energetic percentage, but you could be like an energetic shadow. So, or the same for the sensual, the sexual, the kinky, the shapeshifter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start healing you on a very core basic level. And while we do that, we're also healing your partner at the same time. So both of you, we're showing you how to interact with yourself. As the weeks go on, I'm showing you more and more how you can interact, how you can be, and how you can deepen your relationship with each other, how you can be even more who you truly are. And then it's almost like you guys are rediscovering each other. It's almost like you're rediscovering the person you've been with for the last 10 years because you haven't been feeding each other like you should. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Well, it's really, it's really easy. And I suppose I'm not speaking for everybody, but I'm speaking for a few, that after you've been around somebody for a while and you get used to their basic moves and stuff, you can get tired of that. and that causes you to either stray or you pull yourself away, and you don't necessarily continue to explore each other in a positive way. You kind of help people do that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I do. And you know what it also is that it's more than that. It's like you learn. You don't. It doesn't have. It's not rocket science. Okay, it's just basic things of touching in a certain way. And if you haven't been allowing yourself to, or you even know what you like, it's not even boring anymore. It's starving yourself, and you're not even knowing that you're starving yourself, because it's gotten to the point where it's like, if you're not even able, it's like you flip a switch. All of a sudden you realize you're an energetic and you get touched in an energetic way, and it's like a switch has been flipped on, and you're like, holy crap, this is what I've been looking for, and I didn't know I was looking for it.
Didn't know I was lost. Yeah.
If we can, yeah, I mean, that's what it's all about, is that if you don't even know that you're in a dark room until the light switch comes on, and then you're like, holy crap, wow, this room is a lot bigger than I thought it was. I thought it was in the kitchen, and actually I'm in the bedroom,
Oh, yeah. Well, it's interesting because in our culture, I don't know how it is in other cultures because I've never been there, but in our culture, it's, especially if you were brought up, Catholic or Lutheran or something like that, sex is bad. Don't do it. It's something you should not do until one day when you walk down this aisle and you're committed to somebody and you get married, then all of a sudden you're supposed to turn a lifetime of this bad, don't do it, to everything is okay. How do you get that switch to turn on to where they can get rid of that shame that they've been carrying around forever and then realize that it's okay now?
That's where one of the modules that I teach is healing the shadows, and that's where that comes in. But if you okay, so let's try something right now. Let's all just try something. So we're going to try a sensual touch, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take your arm, all right, and you're going to take your hand, and you're going to start at your wrist. So grab your wrist, and contour the hand to the wrist. Not tight. We're not doing kinky, okay? Just gently contour your hand to your wrist. And then slowly draw that hand up your arm. Contouring to the entire body, to the entire arm, until you get to your shoulder. That's a sensual touch. Now, some people, okay, will find that highly erotic. And that switch will be turned on just like that, just from one touch. Then there are other people that, it's not going to do anything for, because they might not be so high in the sensual. That's okay. That's all right. But here's another touch. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that same arm, you're going to take that same hand, and what I want you to do is I want you to just lightly, very lightly with your fingertips, almost just touching the hairs only. Draw your fingers up, just touching the hairs on your arm. All the way up. Just notice. How does that feel? Where do you feel that in your body? And that's the light energetic touch. And it's just as simple as that. Learning how to touch yourself, how to touch your partner, how to touch your kids in a sweet, gentle, non-sexual way. But if you're touching somebody, touch is a huge part of our society as people. We're tactile. We like to touch. Kids like to touch and put things in their mouths, and that's how they learn. We're tactile. If we don't have touch, we feel like we're cut off from a huge sense. But just learning that will help you to how to touch yourself, how to touch your partner, will teach you and will begin your journey in a powerful way for you to learn how to make yourself happy.
And to make yourself happy in not just sexual terms, but, and that's one of the reasons why I really wanted to talk to you, is that what you're doing, even though at one, and there's sexual aspects to it, but it's also about living your passion. It's about finding out who you really are so that you can live your life fully and completely in all phases. Right?
Exactly. And that's why I call myself a passion cultivator. It's about bringing passion back into your life, that fire, that ignition that makes you feel like you want to get up every single morning and just live your life and just be excited about it. You know, you deserve nothing less than to be happy. And we are so trained to put our happiness on the shelf. We're so trained to detach from what we feel in our bodies, because anything we feel below the belt, that's just too weird. You know, we can't do that. But no. You know, I mean, I knew, and I was able to, you know, do some really incredible work for myself as I was going through this certification for the erotic blueprints. And I realized that when I was a child, I was very, very sexual. And what I mean by that is that I wasn't, you know, I just loved being naked when I was a kid. I loved running around naked. And I also loved playing doctor, and I was really good at it, actually.
Why didn't you grow up in my neighborhood? That's what I want to know.
It's funny. So I was a very sexual child. And what I came to and I had forgotten about that. I was probably about, oh God, I was almost done with the module. I was close to module like 6 or something. And this epiphany came in that I was very, very sexual. And I had forgotten that. I had put that in a closet so deep and so dark that I had even totally and completely spaced all that out. In fact, for a long time, I couldn't remember anything that happened to me from age 2 to age 13. I didn't remember any of my childhood. Now it's starting to come back a little bit more and a little bit more. But that sexuality, that feeling of shame, you know, that came with it, and I was able to heal that. But by just acknowledging that part of me I was able to incorporate her into who I am now. And there's also some really powerful work that I really want to get into with this stuff. I mean, the erotic blueprints they blow my mind with how big they are. But there's something called personas. And personas are powerful tools. Basically, a persona is just what it says. It's a part of you that you have either shut down, or a part of you that you haven't shut down that you want to bring out. Okay? So there could be a kinky persona. There could be a sexual persona. There could be an energetic persona. There could be a shapeshifter persona. There could be an energetic shapeshifter. There could be an energetic sexual. The personas are all different people. And what it is that when you acknowledge that, when that persona comes out, that part of you, especially that part of you that's been hidden, the freedom in that is so totally and completely incredible. I brought out my sexual persona during a May event that we did on Zoom, and when his name is Joe, and I brought Joe out full, my voice changed, my mannerisms changed, the way I was dressing changed. I had a mustache. I painted on a mustache. I didn't grow one. But it was like in that moment that I was able to show Joe to the world, that healed my sexual like nothing else ever could within seconds. I felt like I was honoring my sexual, He was being seen, he was being heard, he was being acknowledged. He was being told, by the people on the call, he was being told that he's super hot, sexy as hell, this and it was all feeding Joe. It was all feeding this part of me. And when you do that, it heals the shame around it. You don't have it anymore. I am a sexual person. I don't care anymore. I mean, I'm a shapeshifter, but I'm a sexual person. Okay? And it's like I own that now. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not holding it. I'm not whispering about it. Oh, I'm a sexual person. I'm not, he's not in the closet. My sexual is not in the closet. He's out. She's out fully and completely. And I'm telling you, within seconds, I felt this part of me being nourished and loved and cherished and hugged and acknowledged, and it just felt free. In seconds, I was free.
That's really cool. That's really cool, because that leads to freedom in all areas of your life, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. Without a doubt. Because I'm not talking about, unless this is your thing, if it's your thing, no judgment. But, I'm not talking about, strutting through Home Depot, coming on to every Tom, Dick, and Harry or Harriet, if that's your thing. I'm not talking about that. It's not about that. It's about, just if I want to dress sexually, and I don't care. I'm honoring that part of me. If I want to dress in a more energetic fashion with looser fitting clothes, maybe. If I want to dress in sensual outfits, I'll dress in with sensual feeling, like material and stuff. I'll do that. It's all honoring who I am, the different facets, because just like a jewel, just like a diamond, every single being on this planet has facets of themselves. And each of those facets shine light and reflect light if you allow them to touch the light and not keep them in the dark. You shine like a diamond.
See, we are a whole lot more... Yeah, that's really good. We are a whole lot more complex than we're willing to admit most of the time.
We dumbify ourselves up and we simplify ourselves up. And that doesn't mean, simplifying is not always necessarily a bad thing. But I am a shapeshifter, okay? And I realized that I'm a shapeshifter very early on, okay? And it made so much sense. It answers questions. I can answer questions for you. Why do you act the way you act? Why do you like to do things the way that you like to do them? For example, I always felt like I had to hold myself down sexually. I was too big. I was too much. I wanted too much. I always felt like I was toning myself down to make my partner, whoever I was with, feel less intimidated. I felt like I had to push myself down. I shape-shifted into whatever they needed me to be. But I didn't. In doing that, it's okay to do that, but it's okay as long as you feed yourself as a shapeshifter. But if you just do that all the time because you want to fit in, because you don't want somebody to feel intimidated by your bigness, that's holding yourself back, and that's limiting yourself. So it became a shadow. I was in shapeshifter shadow before I even knew what the hell a shapeshifter was. I realized it. And then, the whole point to, the shapeshifter is to just allow yourself to be and to explode and there's not enough. It's never enough. And that's okay. It's okay to have that freedom, and it's okay to be who you're supposed to be, who you're feeling called to be. I can show you how to do that. These blueprints will show you how to do that. And it's also about, understanding and feeling alive getting this aliveness in your life like you've never had before, and just bringing this desire and this embracing it and just saying, this is who I am, and I'm making no apologies for it. I don't care. I'm happy, and that's all that matters. And I'm making my partner or my partner happy if you're poly, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting that well, first of all, let's talk about we're talking with Coryelle Kramer, and she has a website, which is CoryelleKramer.com, right?
That's it.
And you can get a hold of her and talk to her about all that. See, what I want to do is I want to meet somebody. I'm currently single. I want to meet somebody, and then I'm going to send them to you to open up, and then you send them back to me. How about we do that? So
I think you got a little dumb. And
yeah, so you can get rid of all that crap that they've been carrying around for 50 years. And now we can start all over again and start fresh. By the way, we've got a gal on the line who is a good friend of yours, but I wanted to bring her in so that she could validate who you are. And Ann, are you with us? Did you go off mute?
I'm right here.
So tell me about this Miss Kramer lady.
She is unbelievable. So I've known Coryelle, it's like 6 or 7 years now, right? It's a while. And what I've seen, and I've been listening, and man, I'm so excited to hear how powerfully, Coryelle, you are framing what you're bringing to the world. It's, I'm choking up. It's really beautiful and amazing. But the thing about working with Coryelle is, yes, the blueprints are amazing and powerful, and she's a psychic. She's intuitive, and she already has spent years communicating with animals. And to me, the experience of hanging out with Coryelle is that she's a soul communicator. Like, that's what she does. That's what she brings. And yes, she's got all these tools. But man, when she listens, she hears you. She knows who you are, and then she reflects it back so you can know too. And you asked a question earlier about, like, how is it that Coryelle would help you sort of bust through shame? My experience with Coryelle is she lives a life of openness and truth, and that gives permission. Like, if you have something you've got shame around and you talk to Coryelle around it, she just brings this light of truth and love to it that makes it so you can see that part of yourself in the same way. She's just unbelievably powerful. She's an empath, and I feel like all the time she's spent with the animals, like what she's doing, you guys were talking about like she's changing what she's doing. I don't see that at all. I feel like she's just amping it up. And what she's doing is, like, we're human animals, and she's going to help us get in touch with our best selves, which is actually our animal selves, like our bodies. Our bodies don't lie. They don't have shame. They don't care. They just like what they like. It's just our heads that get in the way. And you just embody that level of truth, Coryelle. You just are.
Thank you, love. I appreciate you. You're a gift.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not often that you have good friends like that. But Ann, it's, you know, she is, in my experience of Coryelle, tell me if I'm wrong, is I think that she's, number one, she's a hell of a psychic. She really has, and I can say this about some that I've met, but she really has her heart in the right place. She's interested in helping humanity grow and become who they really can be. And you're right, this is just an extension more so of what she was doing, and just makes it a little bit deeper and a little bit better, wouldn't you say? Anybody?
Are you? Oh, sorry.
It's about helping people. It's about helping people remember who they are with tons of love and compassion, so they could maybe dare to show the person they love who they are. And it just deepens everything when you can do that. Or I should say the being they love, because this is true of people and animals as well. If we could show up like really openly and honestly and really see them without a lot of stories, And we've got these extra tools of like, oh, you react to the world this way usually. Okay, I'm going to approach you that way. Just, she's so passionate about creating those connections. She always has been.
That's just awesome. So what do you say, Coryelle? What do you got to say about Anne?
And I don't. There are not enough words, even with the blueprint vocabulary. There just aren't enough words. If it wasn't for Anne, I wouldn't have gone to the Path to Passion event where I had that life-changing. That was the event in Colorado, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have gone. She was my first person who I knew did the blueprints, and she was a beautiful example, and I was able to see her go. I was gifted to get to know Anne before she was a blueprint coach, and I was able to see her transformation and what she went through and how she came out the other side, and she was so alive. It was such a gift, and she has been a constant gift in my life, supporting, loving, helping me, talking me down off the ledge when I get a little freaked out over how big this thing is.
Yeah.
She's just incredible. She's incredible.
Thank
She's
you.
Just a
and I just want to say,
beautiful
like,
person.
this is what this work creates, is that we can have people in our lives who actually know, like, you were talking about the diamond and the facets. I think that's so beautiful. And what this work does, like, when we can acknowledge who we are sexually, the way that you, Coryelle, are putting this out, it means that I can have multiple people in my life who see all of me and love all of me.
Yes.
Which makes,
including yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's just awesome.
I missed that last.
No, including, and she said including yourself.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can see, you can hear in this conversation, like what Coryelle and I are to each other in friendship has been deepened so much by this knowledge, because we just have a lot of language for like how to show up for each other. And I cannot wait, Coryelle, for the people you touch to be transformed.
Neither can I.
Well, ladies, it's been a pleasure to have you both on the show, and you both are doing this together, and I think it's gonna be awesome. And I just applaud Coryelle, that you are the human that you are, and you're after trying to help people live lives a little bit more authentically and a little bit better, and to step into their own power. That's why I wanted to have you back on the show. Waited 7 whole months for you to come back and see us.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you did.
You were very. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you. So am I. I'm glad I didn't give up.
Oh, absolutely not. Well, you're just at the beginning of something great, and I applaud you. And by the way, can you do this work with somebody who's not physically in the room?
Yes, very good question. Just like, with the time of being in COVID, we're all having to social distance. But yes, all of my calls are going to be through video Zoom, or, phone calls if people don't want to do video chatting. But that way I feed them on a very visual level as well, because I'll be right there with them on the video chat. So yes, that's how I do all my calls. Long distance, in person, doesn't matter. Yeah.
Can I just jump in really quick? So one thing is, because Coryelle is so powerfully intuitive and psychic, like time and distance and space none of that matters. So it all conveys really well online. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, could you guys please spell out Coryelle's name and the website name so people can find you?
That
was my job, but go ahead.
Okay, so it's my first name, which is Coryelle, Coryelle, and then Kramer, Kramer.com. And you can find me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, my website, email is mail, MAIL, at CoryelleKramer.com.
You can also go to My Independence Report, and you can see her picture, and you can listen to this podcast in its entirety. It's absolutely free, and you can like us or follow us, and that would be great fun if you wanted to do that. Ladies, it's been an awesome hour for you and for me, and I would like to give both of you, since Anne, you're very gifted. You need to come on and do a show yourself, my dear.
I would be delighted to do that. I have a whole different take on it than Coryelle does. But, yes, I'd love to. That would be great. And it was a beautiful show. I love how you are showcasing Coryelle. So, yes.
Absolutely. So before we go, I want each of you to be able to tell our audience from your heart something special that you would like to tell the world. Start with Anne.
You go first, Anne.
Okay, this came out of a session with a client today. What you want, everything you want, is so much closer than you can possibly imagine. And if you spent even half the amount of time and energy, you spend a lot of time arguing for your own limitations and telling yourself why you can't do things. If you spent even half the amount of time and energy that you do on that, arguing for your own awesomeness and your own power, it will transform your life.
Thank you.
Which from I can't to absolutely I can, and here's how, and I'm going to tell you how.
And Coryelle?
Just be happy. Just be passionate. Be you. Be as big as you want. Be as much as you want. Be who you want. And don't make apologies for it. And if you need help, if you need to know how to do that, if you need guidance on how to do that, if you want to know how to, love your animals in a deeper way, if you want to know how to love yourself in a deeper way, if you want to know how to love the people in this world in a deeper way, then get in touch with me, because I'm going to show you how to do it, and I'm happy to do it.
And spell your first name again. Somebody didn't catch that. They were writing it down.
First name, Coryelle. Kramer with a K.
Very cool. Very cool. It's been great having you both on the show, and I really appreciate. And by the way, Anne, that message that you were giving was also for me, so I appreciate that message very much. I thank you for it.
It was for me too. You're welcome.
It was for all of us, and according to the great apostle Paul McCartney, just let it be. And with that,
Amen.
I hope you guys have a wonderful afternoon. It's been great to talk to you, and we're going to see you next time right here on My Independence Report. Hey, and thanks for listening to this episode all the way to the end. Hey, pretty cool. Hey, don't forget to follow us so you can receive regular updates and new posts. And remember, take care of each other, because each other's all we've got. See you next time on My Independence Report.